It's time to make your first herbal ointment. This is such a beautiful creative process, and out of it comes something that is, I find, so precious when we make these medicinal products. So I really hope you enjoy this. We are going to use a few simple ingredients, and the first one is some beeswax pellets. I have 10 grams of beeswax. If you are vegan and want to stay away from bee products, you can use carnauba wax as well, and you can find that online, so you do have an alternative. Now, the beeswax is going to solidify our ointment once it cools down. And it's getting a little too hot. Now, I'm using 10% because I'm in a very hot area. If you're in a very cold place or it's winter, you could use less. You could try 5% of your mix, but 10% is a really nice starting place. Along with that, I'm actually going to use some shea butter, which is totally optional, but I love it for its nourishing qualities on the skin. And ointments serve to seal the skin. So we use them particularly where the skin is very dry. And the one we're making today has calendula and a little bit of licorice to nourish and soothe dry, itchy skin. So let's get started. I have a sterilized pan on low heat. I want these things to melt, but not to get too hot, because that will damage the calendula oil. We don't want any herbal oil getting too hot. Heat and herbs is not a good thing. So in there we have the shea butter, and it could be coconut butter. That would work equally as well, or you can do without it altogether. It really is personal preference and what you have on hand. There's no pressure to have extras in there. But I have these things because I make my own body care products as well, so I have in my dispensary. Now that's melted very quickly because it is a hot day on top of that. What I'm next going to do is, in here I have 65 mils of infused calendula oil, which you can buy ready-made. This one's from Star West Botanicals. I trust their quality. It's not the cheapest thing, so in one of the other videos I'm going to show you how to make your own. About 65 mils, because we're making this to a total of 100 mils. And in there, way down the bottom, is a little bit of licorice extract. This is actually a solid extract, though it's not actually solid, it's liquid. But a solid extract simply means it has had the liquid evaporated off as much as possible to leave as much herb and as little solvent, which is typically alcohol. So you get a highly concentrated extract. 4 in 1 means that it has 4 parts licorice to 1 part alcohol. Why I've chosen to include licorice is it is an amazing anti-inflammatory. It reduces itching. It's very soothing. It brings down redness and inflammation. Internally, it does the very same thing. Now, as you do this, the licorice will not mix fully through. So if you do use licorice in a mix, don't be alarmed when that happens. You'll see it go into smaller and smaller specks, but it won't fully dissolve into the oil, and that's perfectly fine. The reason I left it on low heat as I put the herbal oil on is if I put the herbal oil straight in and this wasn't still having some heat coming up, very, very low, it could congeal and solidify quite fast because of the difference in temperature. So just having that wee bit of heat still coming through helps prevent that from happening. I have sterilized my spoon as the saucepan beforehand, and now I'm simply going to put it into an amber jar. These are glass ones that I use with medicine making. Now, you could use a plastic jar that's not clear, so it won't let the light through, and that will work every bit as well. It's not about having the fanciest jar out there or the perfect one. It's about using what you already have available. I love to recycle as much as possible. The licorice kind of sticks, it's slower to pop out, but it's almost there. Great, so what I'm going to do is set this aside and let it cool, which it will do quite quickly. This is one I made the other day. Exactly the same recipe, so brilliant for eczema or psoriasis, anything that's scaly and dry and has that itchy quality to it. I have a wound that's healing, and as it starts to really dry out, it became incredibly itchy, and I put a little of this around the edge of it, and instantly it took that itch away. And look at that beautiful golden color. A few safety things, I guess you would call it. When you are taking out your ointment from a jar, try to avoid sticking your fingers in. The reason being, our fingers naturally have bacteria on them and all sorts of things that we pick up through the day. We don't want to introduce that into a cream or an ointment. Some of my jars come with these little scoopers, which are brilliant. So use a clean scoop or spoon, whatever you have on hand, to take that out, and you are going to preserve the life of this so much longer. Now, because it is oil-based and there's no water in there, this is going to keep for a long time. I say at least 6 months. The amber just helps prevent the light getting in and damaging the herb so that it lasts longer. You could also put it in a dark cupboard. That will help every bit as much. There's no need to refrigerate unless it's absolutely stinking hot and it's turning to oil, because you may not have enough beeswax in there. It really is trial and error for your situation. There are a few tips on that one. I will put some suppliers in your resources list to help you find these herbs and supplies much more easily, so that you can make a broad range of herbal medicinals to meet you and your family's needs. I did measure out in a proper measuring cylinder. These you can get very, very cheaply online. They last forever. I've had my original ones for nearly 20 years and they're still in perfect condition. I do have a range of sizes. This one is a 100 ml, which is perfect for the types of things we're doing here with the ointments and so on. So I have an itty bitty one, which comes to a total of 10, but it's perfect for measuring out 1 ml increments and things like that. You don't have to have these. They're an optional extra. I don't want you spending money that you don't have, especially if you're not going to be doing this a lot. But it's something to know that is out there and you can get should you want it. And you can buy them in sets too, which is often a lot more economical. You could have a good old measuring cup. I like my glass one. This one's a Pyrex and I found it's wonderful because there's been no fading of the numbers. The only thing to be aware of is you won't get the same accuracy in your measuring simply because it doesn't have as many increments as a measuring cylinder. But it is a perfect place to start and something you probably already have sitting around in your kitchen. So there you go. You have made your first herbal ointment so easy. I hope you enjoyed that, and pop into the Facebook group. Let me know what you're going to put into your ointment, or if you want any feedback on different herbs to include to help with your healing, or pop into one of the Q&A sessions and we can talk in detail about those things as well. So enjoy, and I'll see you in the next